Since 2020, firearms have been the leading cause of death for children. According to Johns Hopkins University, gun death rates for children have increased 106% since 2013. Just this year, there have been 199 incidents of gunfire on school grounds, resulting in 55 deaths. These statistics outline just how much a change is needed. Of course, the government cannot take away our guns. This seems to be a common issue among Americans, especially during this past election. In order to control gun violence while also protecting the rights of Americans, laws can be implemented. Universal background checks, red flag laws, and gun buyback programs are all solutions to the current danger that surrounds guns. A universal background check would be implemented for all gun buyers, regardless of the location of purchase. These checks would ensure that those with criminal records or mental health issues cannot come into possession of firearms. Along with background checks, permits can be put into federal policy. A state permit requires a more thorough vetting process. A JAMA article by Samantha Anderer states, researchers looked at firearm laws and homicide rates from 1976 through 2022 in 48 states. 12 states adopted universal background checks without permit requirements during this time frame, and 7 states created permit requirements. States that only required background checks at this point of sale saw a 4% drop in firearm homicide rates, compared with an 18% reduction in states requiring a permit. In addition to universal background checks, red flag laws can also be protection of American children. Red flag laws are laws that could allow the temporary removal of firearms from their owners. They can be enacted by reports from family members or friends of gun owners who could potentially pose a threat to themselves or others. According to a JAMA article by Catherine Gimbrone and Kate Rudolph, in the aftermath of the tragic school shooting at Parkland High School in 2018, the state of Florida legislature enacted a red flag law. Gimbrone and Rudolph began research to find the results of homicide rates in Florida after this law was passed. Their study stated that across the post-law period, Florida's red flag law was associated with an 11% reduction in firearm homicide rates, equivalent to 0.73 fewer deaths per 100,000 population per year. Lastly, states could establish gun buyback programs. These programs are intended to decrease the circulation of firearms. Instead of selling firearms to civilians, owners of firearms can dispose of their guns to law enforcement without financial loss. This system would prevent access to guns to anyone who can afford them. A study by Pino Villano and others for the Journal of Trauma and Acute Care Surgery found that 68% of survey participants turned in a firearm for safety reasons, which included being unable to store the firearm properly, concerned that the firearm would be accessed by children, or feeling afraid of the firearm. This survey was conducted in Phoenix, Arizona, and New Haven, Connecticut at gun buybacks. In the end, firearms are always going to surround us in our communities. Our neighbors, friends, and even family members can own firearms if they choose to do so. At a certain point, we have to ask ourselves, at what cost? Guns can and do take lives away from children every day. Yes, owning a firearm should be a right of an American citizen, but don't children have the right to go to school safely? This is where these solutions for safety could save lives. By supporting universal background checks, red flag laws, and gun buyback programs, you can continue having the right to own firearms, while also ensuring children have a right to live.